Today's Jeopardy! Episode December 5th, 2024 was packed with excitement, especially in the final round. As always, the contestants had to wager wisely, answer correctly, and use their strategy to secure a win. So, let's dive into the final moments of today's game, including the final Jeopardy question, the answer, the wagers, and of course, the winner. Let's start with the final Jeopardy question. As is often the case, the category was a key factor in determining how the contestants would approach their wagers. Today's category was world history, a subject that can be tricky for some, but for the contestants who were prepared, it offered an opportunity to make bold moves. The final Jeopardy clue for December 5th, 2024 read: in 1947, this country became the first to gain independence from British colonial rule in Africa. A challenging question, to be sure, as many African nations fought for and gained independence in the mid-20th century. Contestants had to be quick on their feet, balancing both their knowledge of history and their current standing in the game. Now, let's talk about the contestants and their wagers. Heading into Final Jeopardy, we had 3 contestants: Contestant 1, Contestant 2, and Contestant 3. The stakes were high, and each contestant had to decide how much of their winnings to risk. Contestant 1 had a strong lead with a sizable amount, while Contestant 2 was in a more precarious position and needed to wager big to have a chance at taking the lead. Contestant 3, who had been consistent throughout the game, was still in the hunt, but their wager could make or break their shot at victory. Wagers are always a key part of the strategy in Final Jeopardy! Some contestants bet aggressively to try and leap into the lead, while others go for more conservative wagers to protect their standing. As we watched the wagers unfold, it was clear that each contestant was taking a different approach to how they'd handle this tricky clue. Now, let's get to the Final Jeopardy answer. After a brief pause and some tension-filled moments, the answer was revealed. What is Ghana? Ghana became the first African country to gain independence from British colonial rule on March 6, 1957. It was a major milestone in African history, and one that marked the beginning of a wave of independence movements across the continent. Let's break down how the contestants did with this final clue. Contestant 1, who had a large lead going into Final Jeopardy, wagered X amount. Unfortunately for them, they didn't quite get the right answer and lost that wager. Despite their strong performance earlier in the game, that incorrect answer cost them the win. Contestant 2, in a desperate bid to stay in the game, wagered Y amount. They had correctly answered the clue, which meant they added that wager to their total, pushing them into the lead by the end of the round. This was an exciting moment for them as their gamble paid off. Finally, Contestant 3 had a more conservative wager, hoping to protect their position. However, they also answered the clue correctly, and their modest wager kept them in contention but ultimately wasn't enough to surpass Contestant 2. So, after all the tension and anticipation, today's winner was Contestant 2. With the correct Final Jeopardy answer and a bold wager, they secured their victory in this thrilling episode of Jeopardy! This episode of Jeopardy! Showcased just how critical Final Jeopardy can be to determining the outcome of the game. It's not always the contestant with the most knowledge who wins. It's also about making the right strategic decisions, knowing when to take risks, and staying calm under pressure. Congratulations to today's winner, and a huge thank you to all the contestants for their incredible performances. As always, Jeopardy! Continues to deliver high-stakes drama, and we'll be back tomorrow for another exciting episode.